Fun video today. We're gonna do a side resin guard swap on this Hublot Spirited Big Bang. As you can see, I've already taken the other side out, and that is because if you notice on the one that I just took off in certain light, you can kind of see there's a little bit of a nick right here, a scratch right here, and I had somebody back out because of it, so just wanted to do a swap so that it is perfect, because after this swap it will be perfect. I also noticed I didn't do this, but when I removed it, this had already come off, so whoever hit it must have like kind of broken this off a little bit. Not a big deal, but yeah, so I took this off, and then I got the replacement part here, and something really interesting that I never would have known without doing this is that these two screws that are missing obviously, go into the Hublot, into the side of the case. These screws that I've swapped out of here, they do absolutely nothing. They just go into the piece. So they're basically for decoration, which is kind of surprising with Hublot because most of the parts on it, aren't for show. They have a function, but it is what it is. So what we're gonna do now is I'm just going to put this guard back on, and then we'll put the bezel on, and we're good to go. Pretty simple swap. So what I'm gonna do next is actually we'll place this on right here, and this is only difficult to do because of the camera. So I'm gonna try to do this super carefully, obviously. And let me just take this off camera so I can place the screw in, get a little bit closer to me. Awesome. Cool, we almost got it. Okay, got it in there. Cool. We just knocked it down in there, and now I'm just going to tighten the screw a little bit, not too much. As you'll notice on all of my videos when I swap anything, when you do any type of screw replacement on really any watch, you want to make sure you don't tighten too soon, because everything needs to be even and everything needs to work with it, with the other side of the part. So I didn't tighten that other one at all, but now that we have the second and final screw in, we'll make sure that's snug. Cool, that's pretty good. And then we'll make sure this is now snug. Perfect, so we're good to go on that. And there you have it. Now the watch, once I put the bezel on, will be in perfect condition. And the way I like to replace or put the bezel back on is I like to go cross, and I like to make sure, again, that nothing is tightened too soon. So we're going to start with this screw, and I usually brace against my finger, but just for the sake of the video, since I'm pretty careful, just put the screw in like that. Then we'll go cross. You'll notice this is in the same this is in the same sequence as how it should be on the bezel. Reason why you always want to do that is because these screws are longer than the top and bottom screws, and you never want to get that confused, because if you do get it confused, you might try to accidentally stick one of these bigger screws in a hole that, you know, doesn't actually work, and you might end up stripping something, which wouldn't be fun. So cool. So we have this next one. Just gonna give it, not tighten it, but make sure it's in there. Perfect. Got this next one. And again, make sure it's nice in there but not tight. Third to last. Perfect, it's in there. And now I'll just show you, if you haven't seen in my previous videos, the best way to remove or put back on screws, especially when you're changing straps, is these screws are so much tinier. So here's how I actually do it when I'm, you know, not on camera, because it's much easier to do, is I'll place my thumb here and then I'll actually brace the screw up against it. Oops, and I just knocked it out. So if my screwdriver slips, which it doesn't much anymore, but you know, sometimes it happens. If it slips, it will slip into my thumb and not into, you know, the side of the case, and then I scratch the case, or into the crystal and then I scratch the crystal, which a lot of, I mean, I've never personally done it because I learned very quickly from someone much smarter than me, but I get Hublots all the time that will have scratches on the case down here where you change the bezel or where you change the strap, and it's because, you know, somebody wasn't bracing with their finger, wasn't using, you know, tape to protect the watch, or they were using a cheap screwdriver. Always, I recommend using the actual tool from Hublot. Yes, it's expensive for a little screwdriver. It's $115, but you have a screwdriver that's less likely to slip. So I haven't tightened these screws yet, but we are back to basically looking brand new on this Hublot Spirited Big Bang. So super happy with that. Look at this guard, super clean, awesome look, and now we're good to go. So after this video, I'm going to tighten these screws, and I'll just go in a crisscross fashion to make sure everything is snug, and this will be ready to be sold again. So let me know if you guys have any questions about this, if you need any tips. And as always, if you're looking for an Hublot or Rolex or Patek or really any high-end luxury watch, just go ahead and DM me on Instagram, Hublot Haven Miami, and we'll talk soon.